The numerator is already factored down, so we don't need to do anything with the numerator. And fortunately, we have an A value of 1, so we can do a shortcut. So we need two numbers. It multiplies to be -4, but they add to give you a -3. Just give me a thumbs up if you think you know the numbers. All right, we'll give a couple more minutes so a few more people can figure out the numbers. All right, what's our numbers that multiply to -4 and add to -3? Yep, -4 and +1, good. So we're putting a -4 and a +1. Now that everything is factored, can we cancel anything? It has to be upstairs and downstairs. Yes, what can we cancel out? Yep. So my final answer is 3x + 1 divided by x + 1. All right, so let's go to our notes. We're going to review some exponent laws and then go over multiplying and dividing rationals. So we're on page 4. So the main thing I want you to remember is whenever you're multiplying fractions, you just multiply straight across. You multiply straight across. That's how you multiply fractions. But when you divide fractions, dividing, that's where we do our keep, change, flip. And we'll go over that in our examples today. So we keep, change, flip for division, and we go straight across for multiplication. And when we do our keep, change, flip, we're actually changing division to multiplication. Okay. So let's go over our exponent laws. Anytime you're multiplying, if I'm multiplying and we have the same base, I'm going to add my exponents. So this would be x to the power of m plus n. So we add if you're multiplying and the bases are the same. So an example would be x to the 5th times x to the 3rd. So because the base is x, we can add the 5 plus 3, and my answer would be x to the power of 8. So when we multiply, we're adding exponents. Now when you divide, well, I didn't mean to write that. When we're dividing, we subtract the exponent. So if I have m over n, my answer will be x to the power of m minus n. So going to our same one, if I have x to the 5th divided by x to the 3rd, I wouldn't add my exponents, I would subtract them. And what is 5 minus 3? 2. And lastly, we cannot leave exponents negative. So when you have a negative exponent, we move it down and it becomes positive. So this will become 1 over x to the positive n. So example, and it should come back, this internet is glitching a little bit. If I have x to the power of negative 3, it becomes 1 over x to the positive 3. And those are the 3 exponent laws that we're going to use when we're simplifying. All right, let's go ahead and get started. Let's look at this first one here. This is multiplication. So the first thing we're going to do is go straight across and multiply. So numbers, we multiply like normal. So you're going to take 3 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9. Now notice that this first fraction has 1x. And when you add 1x and x squared, or I'm sorry, x and x squared, if we multiply x and x squared, we are adding our powers. So all together, we have how many x's? Not 2. We have 3. So that would be x to the third. We only have 1 y, so I'm just going to bring that down, or bring it over. So now let's move to our denominator. Same thing, we multiply numbers. So 2 times 9 is 18. There's only 1x. So I'm just going to put that 1x. That's all I have. And then I have 1y and 3y. So how many y's do I have? 4. So now that we've multiplied, now we're ready to divide. So let's start with reducing our fraction. So 9 divided by 9 is 1. 18 divided by 9 is 2. All right, so what this is saying, I'm just going to write this out. For my x's, it's saying I have 3 upstairs and 1 downstairs. So when I cancel out 1 for 1, I'm left with 2 upstairs. So I'm subtracting the 3 and the 1 to get 2. But where did I have more? I started off with more in upstairs than I did downstairs. So those 2 would go upstairs. But let's look at the y's. For the y's, I have 1 upstairs and 4 downstairs. So when I cross it out, the 3 y's are going to be where? When you subtract the 4 minus 1, we're left with 3 y's. Where did I have more to begin with? At the bottom. So they're going to go down here. And that is your final answer. So the first thing you're going to do is multiply. And then after you multiply, we divide. And that's it. Yes. How did I get the 1 and the 2? Oh, the 9 over 18. So so if you look at your multiplication chart, okay, 9 and 18 are in the 9s. Both of those numbers can be divided by 9. All right, let's look at question B. Oops, I gotta come up there. I don't know how to do that. All right, so let's look at B. Again, we're going to start by multiplying straight across. So there's an invisible 1 right here. And if you don't see a number, that means the number is 1. If it doesn't have an exponent, the exponent is 1. So I'm going to go ahead and add that in. So we're going to start by multiplying my numbers. So 2 times 1. 2 times 1 would be 2. How many apples do we have upstairs altogether? I have 2 over here. I don't have any over here. So how many do I have upstairs? Just 2. What about the bananas? I got 1 on this side and then I got 1 on that side. 1 and 1 gives me 2. All right, now let's go to the denominator. We're multiplying the 1 times 6. 1 times 6 is 6. How many apples? We just got the 1, so I'm going to put it, I like to line them up, and I always go in alphabetical order to keep my work neat. So I start with the A, then I go to the B, and then I go to the C. All right, how many bananas do I have all together downstairs? 2. And then I got a C, which I'm going to switch to a vegetable and say carrot. How many carrots do we have? Just 1. So now that we've done that, we are ready to begin simplifying. So 2 and 6 are called, they're even numbers, which means they can be divided by 2. Go ahead and divide this by 2. That's called reducing your fraction. So that's going to change it to 1 over 3. I don't know why I made this fraction bar so big. It don't need to be that big. Okay. I have 2 apples upstairs and 1 downstairs. So I want you to subtract 2 minus 1. What is 2 minus 1? 1. Am I going to put it up or down? Where do I put it? At the top, because I have more up at the top. So that 1 left over is going to go upstairs. So when I subtract 2 minus 2, that just cancels out. We don't have any B's. And the 1C is going to stay where it was. And that would be my final answer. That's it. Alrighty, now let's talk about division. Whenever you see division, that's when we do our keep, change, flip. Keep, change, flip. So what does that mean? The first fraction, we keep it. We don't do anything with the first fraction. So I'm just going to rewrite it. Rewrite that first fraction. Don't change anything about it. So we keep the first fraction the way it is. And then we change division to multiplication. That's the change. The change comes with changing division to multiplication. But then the second fraction, we have to flip it. So when I write my second fraction, the 4C moves up and the 3C cubed D squared moves down. That's only for division. That's the only time we have to do that keep, change, flip. All right, take a couple minutes and try to finish it out. Multiply your numbers, subtract your exponents. Go straight across. Even saw a couple of answers right. All right, let's go straight across. This first fraction has an invisible 1 right here. I'm multiplying 1 times 4. 1 times 4 gives me 4. And then I'm adding. So I don't have any, I only have the 5 dogs upstairs. That's all I have is 5 dogs. And I have 1 cat. So I'm just going to put it over here. Again, I like to keep things in alphabetical order. So I'm going to put my C first and then my D second. Next thing you're going to do is multiply your 6 times 3, which gives you 18. So now let's look closely here. I have 1 cat, 1 cat, 3 cats. 1 cat, 3 cats. How many cats? 4. I have 1 dog, 2 dogs. 1 dog, 2 dogs. How many dogs? 3. Now you're ready to reduce and subtract. We're going to reduce our fraction, our 4 and 18. Both of those are even. So go ahead, divide both of those by 2. So take 4 divided by 2 and 18 divided by 2. And that should give you 2 over 9. And now with division, we subtract. So do you notice that I had 4 to begin with downstairs in the basement? Because I had 4, I had more downstairs. After you subtract 4 minus 1, the 3 cats are going to stay downstairs. This is what that looks like. I have 1, and then I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So when I cancel out 1, the 3 are going to be in the bottom, and that's important. All right, I have 5 dogs upstairs, 3 dogs downstairs. How many dogs do I have left, and where do they go? Two upstairs. And that would be your final answer. All right, let's go ahead and look at D. Do we have to do a keep, change, flip for D? Yes, because it's division. Keep, change, flip. So I have 14xy squared over 3x squared z. Now you're changing division to multiplication, and we're going to flip it. Take a couple minutes. Try to work through it on your own. Take your time. Multiply numbers, add the exponents. That's your first step. Then after you have one single fraction, we subtract the exponents. right, let's go ahead and finish it out. So when you go straight across, all right, I have 14 times 1, which is 14. So I'm adding 1x and 1x. 1 plus 1 gives me 2. Then I'm looking at my y's. I have 2 over here, 1 over here. 2 plus 1 is 3. And then there's only one z. So we're going to put that at the end. All right, now let's look at our denominator. When we multiply 3 times 12, we get 36. When we look at our x's, there's only 2. So we only have 2, so they would go down here. And for the y's, there's only 3. So they would go down here. And for the z's, I have 2. So they would go here. All right, so now we're going to finish it out. 14 and 36. These are both even numbers. If you look at your multiplication chart, they're both in the 2s. So we can divide them both by 2. So that leaves me with 7 over 18. I have 2 upstairs and 2 downstairs. When you take 2 minus 2, you get 0. So my final answer has no x's. 0 x's. So these just cancel out. We don't have them anymore. When you look at your y's, you have 3 upstairs and 3 downstairs. When you take 3 minus 3, you get 0. They also go away. I have 1 zebra upstairs, 2 zebras downstairs. When you subtract 2 minus 1, you get 1. And where do I put it? Do I put it with the 7 or do I put it with the 18? 18. And that would be your final answer. Any questions? All right, last 2 are the easiest because they're already factored for us. So now let's look at these. Do I need to do a keep, change, flip? Nope. So I'm just going to extend this and make it one big fraction. So we don't need to do a keep, change, flip. So I'm going to extend that fraction bar and make it one big fraction. And now I want you to start canceling out. What can you cancel? What's upstairs and downstairs that I can take away? It doesn't have to be on the same bar. So we could take away the x plus 4. And we could take away the x minus 9. So what I'm left with is my final answer. So that would be negative x plus 3 over 7x. All right, go ahead and do the second one, B. We don't need to do a keep, change, flip. Extend the bar. Cancel out what you can. So, Maya, what's one thing you could take away? One more time. R minus 5. Let's take that away. Bailey, what else can I take away? Take that away. So I'm left with 8R at the top and R plus 1 at the bottom. Okay, just a reminder, that this homework that we're working on slowly is due on Tuesday. Now the ones on the back, they're a little bit more advanced, so if you haven't finished the front side, I want you to continue working on that for the rest of class.